Welcome, everybody. Hi, Ina, all of you. I'm so excited to have you here today. It's a really beautiful day. We're almost on the full moon. Make sure you join me on Thursday on the full moon. We're going to be doing epic stuff. And the full moon is going to be very interesting. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a spiritual weather report because, as you probably know, we've got this Uranus Gemini thing going on. We have some other really epic things with Pluto that's been happening. Make sure that you check out the spiritual weather report playlist here. We have a lot of really good playlists below if you're looking for, what was happening earlier in this snake year, or what was that energy at the eclipse like? Because now I'm feeling it, right? Because so the cycles of the stars, of the day, of the celestials, of our lives is very prominent. It's very important. It's a part of most mystery schools. It's a part of wise ancient cultures, their geocosmovision in a way, right? The way that they saw the world is that we're a spiral and that we're in cycles. And we can obviously see the cycle of the moon. So full moons are parties, they're harvests, and yet it's also going to have both sides to it. So there's a lot of powerful energies always with any peak. And as you're feeling it coming to you now, this is a great time to illuminate things that have been in the dark, to start to understand and look for the things that are coming to ripeness, they're coming to fruition. It's the harvest, okay? The full moon is you plant the seed and it grows and it blossoms and it produces a fruit, right? That's the esoteric, the metaphysical, the energetic understanding. The subtle levels, 90% or more of us and our reality are not seen. So we have to unplug from this around us having really any power. This is a mirror. And the only way to change the reflection in a mirror is going inside. So do the cycles affect you, even if you're projecting the reality, because you are the creator? And that's what I teach you in all of my classes and Intuition Awakening Summer Camp, which is starting in a few weeks. So please come and jump in. We have a limited number of spots. You get lots of practice, and it's a jumping off point. It's a huge quantum leap. It looks like a platform for rocketing into the next level of your awareness, your skills, your confidence, your understanding of subtle realms, your way of feeling and communicating and connecting with other realities, and with your body, and with the parts of you that you would love to speak to, your higher self. Or maybe, what is my body telling me? Why does it keep doing this? Why do I keep repeating that pattern? It's time for us to know ourselves, as the oracle in Delphi so wisely said, which is carved and still quoted all this time later. So as we discover who we are, I have all of these wonderful shows for you. Please subscribe. Come over to nanakasha.com. Make sure that you get onto our email list so you understand when these shows come out. Sometimes they're planned ahead, sometimes they're a day before. And something we're going to start in the next few days is going to be an intuition challenge. So we'll have all the details of that for you. There'll be a playlist. If you're on our email list, it will come out with the replay from today, and you'll be able to come back here and see where it is. So live, I'm going to take you through the 3 top steps of why right now, in this moment, this is current, this is relevant. This isn't, let's learn some old stuff, let's try to make up some new stuff. This is what is the most important energy reason that now can transform everything in your life that's optimal for you at this time, aligned to your soul's purpose, path, power, that will accelerate and amplify because of what's happening. So we want to harness the energies. We want to harness the full moon energy, and we harness eclipse energy. We don't stand there and wait for it to attack us. Oh no, we go, okay, what are the energies? All right, good. This is what I'm dealing with. I'm going to make a cake out of that. I'm going to make something delicious out of these ingredients. I'm not going to believe, oh no, this is terrible, and then start projecting negative futures. Please unplug. I need you to unplug. What does that mean? I need you to unplug from what everybody told you is true, from the news, from your phone, from the feed, from this influencer, from this person who's, so good at NLP that they suck you in and you feel like you have to have something. If you don't have it, you're never going to succeed. But if you did get this one thing and it was $50,000, and like the disinformation, the misinformation, the distraction, the manipulation of the mental field, of the informational field, the world has exploded. All right. So welcome to the age of Aquarius, where we are now enjoying the fruits of all of these centuries and millennium and more and eons of building this world and the universe and the universes and so on, of being co-creators in it, being sparks of light out of the divine, coming in different incarnations, but they're linked to this life right now. So you are a pinnacle life, I used to call it. You are living a pinnacle life. And what do I mean by that? Let's say there's a book and you pick the book up and the book is all about you. And it's all about the most amazing luminous being that ever was. What's the right word? Is it every word that comes through? No, I don't like that one. No. It's a co-creation with spirit. So I'm constantly talking to other realms and channeling energies. This becomes normal. Okay, when you realize that is the real world, and this physical world is a reflection of who you're being in that world, then you realize, oh, if I want to change my reality, if I want to become free of this trauma, if I want to heal my body, if I want to find my soulmate, if I want to make more money, if I want to get over feeling guilt or shame or blame or anger or victimhood or craving or whatever the low states that we're programmed and conditioned to be attached to listen to give our power to everybody else's opinion, working at jobs you hate, okay, believing the only way to survive is to be responsible and do things in a certain way. So this is in no way a judgment of, like, I have a daughter who loves her job. Okay, so how wonderful for her. I love my job, but it's my business. So that's an example of someone who goes to work at somebody else's company. They're all perfectly okay options unless you feel restricted, bored, disconnected. If the job or the relationship or the house or your clothes or your body or what you believe is the gap between who you are now and what you have now, and what you wish for, what your heart wishes for, and then what's the secret wish that's really underneath all of that. Because unless you're working with me or really at a point in your life, you are most likely chasing dreams and believe that the priorities, the wishes, the wants, the dreams that you hold for, I want that and then my life will be good. I want that and then I will feel successful. I want that and I'll finally feel secure. I'll feel safe. I'll be able to go do what I really want because this is taken care of. Remember that if you are like, oh, when there's this much money in the bank, then I'll go have fun. When this is paid off, then I'll go do that. When this person says they're sorry, then I'll go do that. When I'm done with college, when my children are done with this, when is now pointing back at you, because you've just handed your power over to the story structure that you inherited. So to be honest, we're all living a reality of the past, and we're all living a projected 3D reality. So pick a part of it, from politics to school to personal relationships to natural disasters to everything in between that's happening on the planet, around the planet, in the multiverse. It's all happening, and your connection to it is your choice. So I'm always putting you back into your position of choice. I'm always putting you back into a moment when only you can put yourself into a dream, a world, a reality, a relationship, a job, an income, a physical state, a home, a lifestyle. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe you want to do your business as that. Maybe you want to be a researcher and get paid to go do things you would love to do anyway. Like We are breaking down and blowing up, and it's not we're us causing it. It is happening. It's like you're going up the stairs and now you're on, level 2, breakdown. The world's melting, what we believed in. We're waking up to the horror show we've created. We can't believe that we ourselves earlier in this life, ancestors, other lives, our cultures, and whatever, right? Back into the story, we're realizing, what on earth? Who would do that? Because our consciousness is raising, whether we are doing it consciously or not. It's a struggle. It can be full of fear. It can make you reach for more control, more blame, more rules. And you're seeing a lot of that happen in the world. Restriction. We're making new rules. We're moving the fence further away from the pyramid. You can't come near here. You can't do this. You need this visa. You need that. We're going to do this. We're shutting that down. It's everywhere. So don't personalize it. Step out of it and see it as a paradigm, an archetype, a particular reality you've been living in. And as it breaks down, you're being freed, because you can only see, perceive, live, reflect back to you from your level of consciousness. That means, what do you believe is true about you, money, your body, health, worthiness, sex, love, rock and roll, whatever, okay? Everything is coming from you. But we've all been trained, not to the point where, let's think about this. Are we trained that it's not okay to follow our hearts? Well, if you come from cultures like I did, often, very common. Like, I want you to be a doctor. Your parents or your family has a tradition of all going into the military. And so, of course, you're going to go into the military. And in order not to go in the military, you have to have a fight. You have to have a strong stand. And you probably do not feel that strong enough because you want the approval and you want to belong to your family. And you were trained, you need to belong. You need to acquiesce. You need to compromise. You need to fit in. Now, there's a level of doing all those things that comes from love and harmony. Never included self-sacrifice. And that's what you and I were programmed to do. So today's show is going to be kind of raw, kind of in your face for me, because it's time to say this ends here. Now, I don't recommend some of these thinking about these ideas, thinking about these experiences, thinking about things that are negative and painful. I don't advocate ignoring it and pretending it's not there. I advocate acceptance. Acceptance is a state of consciousness, give me a minute, where you take your power back. And I didn't understand that for a long time. So this is really important, because right now you are in a sacred temple with me. I have been trained in this life, and I have reconnected to 40, I don't want to say that, like 40,000 other incarnations, realities, schools, wisdoms, practices, expertises that can support me in my mission, in my personal purpose. So there is nothing outside of you, in your culture or your family, in the way you were taught in school, and what you're taught at your job, and what you're in any aspect of your life. Nothing you were told is truth, and it isn't innately good or bad to most degrees. It's what you believed about it, that you agreed to it. A lot of it, like I said, when you just entered this lifetime, you took on certain paradigms as truth into your time-space continuum. You're walking in this place that's a projection, and it's being made by you. I have a very different reality than you do, and I have different beliefs about the meaning of what happens to me and how I react to it, and all kinds of things. And every single person is unique and different. So what I want for you is for you to actually be back in conscious connection and get in charge of your life, not controlling like ego, like logic, like judging people and trying to think about what you did wrong and striving and pushing and doing more and wondering why this didn't happen and go out to right this wrong. None of that works. None of that works. None of that works. It's only going to bring you more of the same. You have to be the one that exits the conflict with yourself, with money, with worthiness. Where are you in conflict? If you are here like, I'm ready to do what I love, make plenty of money, and take half the day off every day to talk to nature, because I'm here to talk to nature, to bring the mystical wisdom of nature back into reality. And in order to do that, I need to spend time with nature. And nobody I know thinks that that's a real job, and nobody I know thinks that's smart, and they may criticize me, and they may ridicule me, and they may tell me I'm stupid, and I may get in fights or whatever. And I want to quit my job because it's boring and it's mundane and it's not going anywhere for me, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. I've just realized that that choice is no longer feeding me, and I'm weighing the money and the time against the benefit that I could to take time for myself, to listen to spirit, to remember my true mission, to let the mission within me, the jaguar in my heart, come out and start to be the guide, instead of all the fear, all the structure, and all of the vows that we carry from other lives. I'm going to give you a touch of each of these because we are right now inside of this sacred temple, stripping away, dissolving, uncovering, excavating, all right? The sacred temple you've entered is from me going to 3 different Egyptian mystery schools, me learning energy medicine, starting with animal communication, Tellington touch, Reiki, I don't know, every other thing you can find from, 30, 40 years ago or more, studying frequency medicine at very deep levels with radionics, rife, but with people who were psychometrists that were drawing in new frequency energies that people still are kind of dabbling with now, but literally cure everything because everything's a frequency. So you just introduce a frequency, you get rid of the drugs and all the rest of the drama. So I've gone very, very deep into, well, what's underneath that? Instead of like, be grateful, be gratitude, gratitude fixes everything. Well, that whole movement didn't do a lot for me because it felt like a guilty assignment. Like, you should just be grateful for what you have. You don't like it, but too bad. So what I know now is that I have had many, 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 many lifetimes that were significant, that I brought with intentionally at a soul level into this life to bring into completion and to juice, right? To pan for the gold, right? To let all the dirt and all the pain and all the other ideas and emotions and stories, let that go and come out with the elixir, come out with the essence, come out with the wisdom, with the gems, okay, with the pearls. Then that means that you're in this life. You don't have to remember every past life, but there's going to be key ones that are key to your soul lineages, and you're going to start working together. You're like, you may not even know right now that in 2 months, you're going to be doing healing work. And the best thing that could ever happen to you is that you go to Intuition Awakening class and you learn these tools of what's happening now, how to connect, what's the speed, what to amplify, how to make sure you don't amplify certain things. All of that with the practice to give you the feedback that right now, right here, in a month or 2 months from now, you're going to be feeling a level of confidence that has nothing to do with pretend, force, push, seek. You're going to be standing calmly within yourself. You're going to realize, I am the receptor. You're the tower that's receiving, but I'm blocked. I'm disconnected. I haven't upgraded. There's all these terms that you can use to understand from our technology, from our computers. I need to download the new software, the 1.0 to the 2.0 and so on. Or I need to bring in that ancient wisdom. I need to remember when I was a healer and I did get burned at the snake. Snake, that's so funny. I love you so much. That's a cuckoo con and the snake and the serpent. They're also powerfully important to me. We had a snake yesterday, day before when we came home. I mean, on the stairs. This is my jaguar serpent. So this is what we're becoming. We're remembering our jaguar, which is the sacred feminine in Lemuria, and our masculine, which is the serpent, coming into balance, the jaguar serpent. So you were burned at the stake, you were decapitated, you had your head chopped off, you were disowned, you were excommunicated, you were ridiculed, you were beaten, you were tortured, you were threatened, you were gagged, you were hung, you had your throat slit, you had your reputation ruined, you had your funding removed, you lost your job, you received shame, you were condemned. Isolated, blamed, shamed, enslaved. So, what is the magic wound and why is it so important if you want to reclaim the sense of your intuition, the body of your intuition? And this year in Intuition Awakening, I usually do this once a year. So, if it's optimal, we'll do it again next year, but it's never the same because we're working with the energies right now, which is the whole point of intuition. The intuitive field doesn't have to make something physical and then say, okay, we put all the money into making the template of that. It can't change. You know, we're fluid in the subtle realms, all the subtle realms, even the physical etheric, the auric field is fluid to the degree that it can shift and change. And right now, one of the most important things is that you can shift and change very quickly. That could be something falling away out of your life, and ancient wisdom coming up, a certainty coming up, a skill coming back, visions coming back, dreams starting to guide you. It could be that you suddenly just don't feel attached to the opinions of others, or you realize that what you were chasing, what you thought was important wasn't, and now you don't know which direction to go and you're looking for clarity. So wherever you are, that's somewhere everyone is and has been. And so there's plenty of you and your wisdom that's already in every moment as you enter the next moment, in every moment and place and point in time and space. Everything exists that you could possibly require for your journey, for your path, your fully funded mission. So I want you to reconnect to your mission. I want you to reactivate your powers, remember your gifts, start to see yourself as beautiful. You were intentional here. You were designed on purpose. Every failure was perfect. Every whatever, loss, gain, success, ecstasy, everything in between, just close the volume of your life and put away all of the qualifications, get rid of them. Because we are today going to expose the magic wound. That's the wound that's sometimes called the witch wound. That's the wound that's called the psychic wound, the spiritual wound, the weirdo woo-woo wound. So all of the things I've been talking about most likely happened to you in the past. Hopefully that you don't live anywhere right now where they're chopping people's heads off, but I don't put anything past anyone at this moment. There's a lot of pressure now that takes the place of physical torture and threatening, right? And all forms of murder, that people were waving that they were better than you, that they had condemned you, that they judged you, that they saw that you were evil, that you were wrong, that you were bad, that your gifts were bad, that the fact that you could heal someone with herbs made you bad, even though you healed the whole town. And secretly, they all loved you, but they needed someone to blame for something. So they blamed you, and then you were betrayed. And then you were killed, and then your family was killed, and then you were filled with guilt and shame, and you made a vow to yourself and perhaps to other people to try to save your life before you were killed anyway, that you would never, ever, ever practice magic again, that you would never, ever, ever be a healer again, that you would never, ever, ever listen to intuitive hits, believe in your guidance, talk to spirits, believe everything was alive. You would only go to the church and you would only confess and tell everything that you think about and do so they could control every aspect of you. And you would let them tell you what God said, what God has said, what was right for you. And your punishment, the result, which was usually eventually pain and death, loss for you and other people, was deeply embedded into your soul structure. And your light body, which is an enormous sphere of light that has many layers to it: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, intuition, and much more. But you are also in there are all of these vows you made, are all of these soul contracts of all of these things that you said, I will never, ever, ever, ever heal someone again. I will never, ever, ever ask for money for healing or intuitive work again. I will never, ever, ever, ever do my intuitive work or trust my intuitive work, because look at the pain it caused. I caused pain for me. I caused pain for other people. I caused death for other people. I did all of that in vain. I tried to help people and they betrayed me. So I don't trust people now. I'm not going to speak up. I'm not going to say my truth. I'm not going to offer to help people. I'm not going to let people see me. I'm not going to let people know that I know what this tree is saying, that I know right now is the perfect time to conceive your child under the full moon because of this. Like, I am one with the universe and the elements and the goddesses and the priestesses and every level of consciousness that is beauty and light. And I work with it to help everyone on their human journey to remember their divine. And when you did these things that were highly skilled, highly trained, highly revered at some point, either in the life or in another life, you were punished, killed, or received some form of very severe control that then you birthed with that vow, I will never, ever, ever again. Now, you may relate to the fact that in this life, you want to speak your truth, but you're afraid, that you developed habits as a child to stay in the background, that you got punished or ridiculed or in some way disapproved of, that was very painful to you. The love you wanted, the approval you wanted, the inclusion you wanted, the family you wanted, the life you dreamed of, the beautiful, happy life that you dream of, like as a child. If you were free to feel that most likely didn't go that way in some way. And at some point, your fantasies of talking to the fairies and being a cute little girl that saw things and did magical things, which most all of you probably did, was suddenly like, stop doing that. It's stupid. It's childish. It's for little kids. It's not true. It's evil. It's the devil. And every other version. Okay, so whatever version of that's wrong, don't do it. And it often starts because of a particular age in a child. Oh, they're making believe. I mean, we give little boys guns. What kind of insane people give little boys guns and shoot things and practice in fun play? What the hell? It's just like, oh my gosh. And so when you realize that you are playing inside, waking up, having visions, having dreams, having desires, having been told by your culture, by your society, by your religion, by your practices, by your success or lack of, by your partner, by your children, by your parents, by your friends, by whatever. You think that they all have control. You think that they all get to say. You think everyone else gets to have what they want. And yet that's the way you designed it. So the power is in your hands and the power is in your heart and the power is inside of you. You designed the reality that you live in. And it's through these painful experiences, which embedded then beliefs into the mind, into the cells, into the DNA. And you have DNA in all of your bodies. So you don't just have DNA in your physical body that comes from your physical current family on the planet and their ancestry. You also have DNA in your mental body and your emotional field, in your auric field, and spiritual body and financial body and your intuitive body. So those DNAs all have different codes, different information. Your DNA is the seed of your soul. But the problem with it is when our particular culture looks at it through science and they remove 90% of the information that something's holding, thinking that they're telling the truth and they're giving you the most limited possible view of something, that their ignorant and limited perspective based on their technology or their perspective is going to allow you to see. And even though they know science keeps proving itself wrong and having a new discovery, when they discover something, they stamp it as absolute. Oh, well, now it's okay to take this vitamin C because we've proven that it helps your health. Well, we all know that. We know that from past experience, from how we feel, from talking to the orange. I mean, whatever. Okay. So you are this multidimensional being that's been stuck in a reality, and we've been conditioned, raised within. We agreed to the timeline of our ancestors. We agreed to the reality of our family and whoever you spent time with, and then your school and so on. You also came with blueprints and specific lives and specific challenges and specific powers and a mission. Okay. In fact, a few, 3 or 4 missions. Everyone has the mission of reconnecting the web, right? Of reactivating that we are one, understanding that we are one. We all have that mission as one of our sacred missions. How do you remember you are one if you're over there denying your intuition because you are aware you were burned at the stake, or you aren't aware, but you're so afraid of the book about, meditation or goddess temples or becoming a priestess or going on a sacred retreat, or every time you think of going to the pyramids, you get afraid, you have this bad feeling. Like, a lot of people get excited by these sacred sites, by these ancient religions, by these ancient wisdom. I do. But some people get triggered, and there's a very powerful reason, the same as if you're attracted to it. If you're repulsed by it, it has a trigger. And you have most likely experienced a life that was extremely difficult. It was extremely painful, and you made a vow, you made an agreement at the end of it. So I want to explain to you what's a vow, what's an agreement, what's a soul contract. These live on all these levels. Like I said, cell, mind, cellular, mind, DNA, and on and on. Your emotional field has a lot of input: fears, anxieties, feelings of guilt, feelings of shame, feelings of craving and wishing, and a joy, of course. But it's the low states that limit you and separate you from your divine connection directly to your source, to the moment, to everything that you have. We have been coming into this new reality with our butt first. We have been coming in with our root going, I'm a body and I'm a physical, and oh my God, maybe I'm not a body, and maybe I do come back many lives, and could this be true? And now I'm going to do this chant, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to have this crystal, and everything will be resolved now. Oh, I did one meditation and I'm fixed. And then we started to realize, right? Oh, one meditation didn't fix it all. It just uncovered 10,000 more things. And then we started realizing all the different individual problems that you have, and this and that. Oh, I got to fix this, and I got to learn that, and I got to apply this, and I have to go to a healer for this, and we are one. You are one. It's all here. It's within you. One thing you do, one thing you remember, one thing that you freed, one of these intuitive skills you had that when you died, burned at the stake, you said to yourself, never again, baby. Or some mystery school you were in, or some secret society you were in, or somebody who took the wisdom of magic and mystery and time travel and alchemy and used it for harmful reasons. And you realized that you had been a part of that. And then you died with that guilt on your soul. And you said, oh, I'm not trusting anybody. And people betray you. And if you show any signs of knowing about this magic stuff, or knowing how to heal people, or knowing about anything outside of like this is a tree. I love the tree. Yes, yes. No, I didn't hear the tree talk. I didn't see the tree's aura. I don't know what you're talking about. My neighbor did, though. Go kill them. Go kill them. Go kill them. So you have to look at the history we're coming from with no emotion, and understand the emotion is the power that's now freed. And the story is something you can say, oh, that was an interesting story. Now, what comes out of every story? The hero, the heroine dies, fights the demons, finds the magic mentors like me, fairy goddess mothers, learns skills, gains knowledge, falls apart, loses, succeeds, dies again. And then there comes a moment in the hero's journey, in your life, in what all of these sacred scripts and stories and myths and archetypes and every beautiful, incredible thing that is telling us you're here on a journey. Your body is not the end. If your body dies, don't worry about it. Okay? You're here to experience it, enjoy the body, feel the body. And as soon as you can, complete these old fears because they're not real. Lock them up, let them go, and turn and become the master of this illusion. But you can't just do it by learning how to use law of attraction or how to quantum jump or how to activate your light body or how to do energy healing or how to communicate with dolphins. Go for all of this stuff. I love it all. I've learned 99% of it. At some point, it all merges inside of you. And it all has a reason. It's all reminding you of another skill you have from another life, a wisdom that you took, you learned, you graduated from. Maybe you taught, maybe you were a mentor, maybe you were all of them. Maybe you did it on the Pleiades. Maybe you did it in ancient Egypt. Maybe you did it in Lemuria. Maybe you did it in the mountains of South Dakota. I don't even know. Like, what is that? You don't need to know, because what we're here to do is to free ourselves, not just to unravel those vows, which are very strong, to free ourselves from the mindsets that say it's not safe to be me, it's not safe to speak up my voice, it's not safe for me to be psychic. What if I trust myself and bad things happen? Then I'm to blame. The fear and over responsibility that you probably have felt or do feel or still feel sometimes towards other people. I have to fix them. I have to help them. I have to put them first. I have to put myself after them. I have to stay because they can't do this and they have a sad story. And your sad story then includes them taking away your power. You're going to start to realize that whatever practice you're using, and the Silva method is fantastic, and I've learned so many, and I've taught so many, and I have a lot of classes in my shop, so please go check it out and join the Intuition Awakening Summer Camp. And how do you do that? Well, you go within and you say, now is the time, because we're accelerating really fast, so the energies are going to accelerate you through this class like if you did it for 3 years or more. They just said or 30, and that's just a reflection of the energy. It's just saying, oh, we're flying to England, but we're going to take the Concorde, which I don't think exists anymore, which is 3 hours, versus a plane, which is 8 hours, right? It's taking you to the place where you remember you're the creator, remember you're the manifestor, get into these powers, have tools you can use, get the feedback you need, build your confidence, get into your center, have calm, accentuate and accelerate your senses, your receptors, your intuitive network, know how to activate them, create the sacred space and connect to them so that now you receive clearly. But how are you a clear and open channel? You're only a clear and open channel if you activate your intuitive senses. And how do you activate your intuitive senses if you're afraid of them? So let's dive into, and please share in the chat, like, what do you relate to about what I'm saying? Yes, I have that fear, or I used to have that fear, or that fear has just come back. Do me another favor. Don't get down on yourself when something that you thought you fixed and healed comes back. You live in a spiral. You cycle. You're never the same person at the same time, re-experiencing the same thing. You're never going backwards unless you wish to travel in time there. That's easy. I can teach you that in one class. All right. What you want to learn, what you are here to remember is, who am I? And the first thing that comes up is your wounds, your fears, and all the barriers that you've put in place, the mindsets, the beliefs, the emotional fears, anxieties, and other problems and labels, okay, that make you think, oh, I'm not strong enough, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. I can't tell you how many students don't come necessarily saying, oh, I want to heal my ADHD, or I want to get over this syndrome or that issue or this addiction. And yes, and yet we go past the label. We're not fixing a problem with you. We are freeing you from something that is trying really hard to keep you where you are, which is disempowered, disconnected, uncertain of yourself, and definitely not connected to a huge percentage of your intuitive network, your 20 primary senses and your 360 soul senses. So that means that if the curve that we're on is lifting us up and it's freeing us, and we're having these momentums and these energies, and we're entering a time where we're shedding the old identity. We're sliding out of the skin that we thought we were, the reality we believed in, who we thought we were, what we thought we could do, and apply that across the board. It's more than just how you drive to work, or that you work from home now versus go there. All that stuff's changing. We're talking about even deeper. What does that mean? What other wisdom do you carry? What other ancestral lineages are within you? What's ready to pop up that maybe you've never heard because you are ready to shed? So today, I want you to agree. I'm going to explain a little bit more, and then I'm just going to surrender this, because my favorite thing to do is to walk into the center of this sacred chamber, temple, whatever you want to call it, with you, and let the guides come through. Let this moment show us what it is. Let whatever it is, if it's Mother Earth, Ishel, if it's the full moon, that's just starting to really draw us into her in a few days. Is it one of the priestesses? Is it one of the grandmothers? Is it the energies of the jaguar? Is it the energy of the turtles, the tortugas? Oh, yesterday, or I got to see a mother laying her eggs. Help her, so to speak. I just protected her. So this is a moment for you, and your agreement with yourself is that you're here in this moment. For some reason, you're hearing what I'm saying. That's a spiritual truth that's been taken into a lot of marketing now, so it could get misused, but I'm saying it to you because the truth is, I want you to realize that if you're drawn to a certain wisdom, if you're drawn to a certain retreat, a certain place you want to go, a certain activation, a certain, I just need to be alone, today on the full moon, or I need to, listen to this peaceful music today. I want you to trust that, because guess what? You have two voices, and you're going to have to determine, is this the voice of my spirit love, potential, prosperity, or is this the voice of my fear? And they're both sacred, and they're both part of you. One's not bad and one's not good, and one's your ego and one's your spirit. And that's what you're discerning. The first line of intuition is to discern that. So how do you how do you take all these tools you maybe already have, or all the things I'm offering you in the Intuition Awakening? How do you take your daily routine? How do you just do anything and apply it right now to something, instead of saying, well, I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to keep learning this, and I'm going to keep practicing this? And yes, there's a certain repetition we have to have until it breaks into us and becomes a habit. We accept it, we believe it, and then we take a vow to it. But we took so many vows, we made so many agreements. You agreed to your family's belief in rich people are evil, or belief that you have to work really hard, or belief that you're not worthy enough, or believe that you don't deserve to be supported and loved, or what's wrong with you, or why you should do this. And so if you were raised in a world that didn't say you need to be a doctor because I want you to be a doctor, or do something normal and don't freak me out, what are you doing being an entrepreneur, or what are you doing being a psychic healer, or what are you doing, what are you doing? This is not acceptable. This is filling me full of fear. Remember, everybody is reacting to you from the way you believe. So they're showing you that you fear yourself. When you receive criticism, oh, I'm sorry, but all the way to having your head chopped off for, being a psychic or receiving transmissions from angels, or laying your hands on, or telling somebody, that they're going to have a child, or a woman, a girl, and when they're pregnant, or any other million of things that we were persecuted for, that we were hunted for, that we were blamed for, that laws were made against us. Now, I mean us as women, but us as people, because you could have been a man then and a man now, or vice versa, but you've been all of them, you've been both of them, and we all have sacred feminine. We're talking about the polarities and the power streams that pour through every one of us. And right now, number one priority, bar none, is rehydrate the sacred feminine within you. That means stop the fear. So what do these beliefs do? You make an agreement in a moment of passion and pain, and it's filled with emotion, and it's embedded so deep within you. You make a vow to a mystery school. Shh. That's what a mystery school is. Shh. That you would die. Do you remember the Da Vinci Code? Like these guardians of this sacred thing, they are chosen only because they take a vow. And that vow is not like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll do that. They take it seriously. They mean it. They hold it as sacred, and they're the ones that give it power. They're willing to die rather than give up their secret. You have done that at least once. So now you're awakening to your powers, and maybe you're having dreams, or you remember something, or you're drawn to use runes, and you don't really understand why. You just can't get ahead with it, or you can't feel safe doing it, or every time you offer to do rune reading sessions for people, nobody sees it, or you get sick. Okay, I could go on and on and on. I'm giving you clues to how the world works, how the universe works. You're in communication constantly with the energies around you by what you believe, and you don't even know what you believe at a deeper level, but it is determining what you're radiating out, and then what is reflecting back to you. Therefore, what is your reality? People showing up to criticize you, people showing up to not pay you, people showing up to ruin your reputation, people showing up telling you you're not worth that, people showing up to say, I literally have women who have to hide that they're working with me, or that they're meditating in the morning, or that they have spirituality, and they hide their altars, or they do their spiritual work really late at night or really early in the morning, because the people around them are so vehemently against it. They truly feel it's evil. They're mean. They're punitive. They're critical. I've had clients who were not for valid reasons thrown into mental institutions because they were just psychic, because they were attuned to nature. They weren't doing anything evil. They weren't hurting anybody. Yet that's our history. Don't believe the stories that people were doing evil things. They weren't doing evil things. The controlling powers, primarily driven by political powers, who were just greedy people who want to own everything, control everything, and had no heart to care for people. Oh, I'll enslave you. I'll take your stuff. I'll keep you poor while I gorge on stuff, and all of that stuff. Okay. We've all been with that, and we don't want it anymore. But what we remember is when we were the victim, when we were the put upon, when we were the one that suffered, and then sometimes we remember, wow, when you misused your power, when you misused your ability. What if you had that kingdom and you had decided you wanted to make it the most beautiful, loving, vibrant place, and you help people, and you didn't gouge all the money, and you tried to create better living things, and like the ancients, you connected. Maybe you were an ancient priest, star watcher. Maybe you were a Lemurian queen. Maybe you were a long-skulled medicine woman in the British Isles. Maybe you were an Atlantean crystal worker, or you were in charge of creating a sphere around all of Atlantis to keep the consciousness high. You hold vital wisdom that's not been allowed to surface in you because of so many times of retribution. So the agreement or the vow is within you. Now, you've probably encountered many of them. I started rewiring these about 38 years ago for myself, about 35 years ago for other people in different ways. Specifically, when you identify what you would like to be or have or do, and you start moving towards it, you will run into your fears. You will run into your doubts. You will run into the part of you that doesn't want to speak up, doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want to ask for money, doesn't want to receive money. I have clients who've gotten rid of all of their money whenever they make a lot of money, even though they were out to make a lot of money, because of an inner program that said, oh my God, I was killed. So I have a client, I had a client many years ago who did a group hypnosis session where she went to a past life in medieval times where she was wealthy, well-educated woman, and she was thrown into jail for no reason and forgotten, basically just suffered there, barely surviving in this horrible, underground kind of prison, and then had her head chopped off. And it was her family, and got together with the local authorities, and they wanted her land, they wanted her wealth. And she was a nice, beneficial lady. She was living a peaceful, beautiful life. She was very well educated. She had libraries. She was helping, some people in the community were actually thriving because of her. So that was part of the reason they didn't like it, because she was making them look bad because they were quite cruel, the politicians. Okay. And then she experienced all of this, okay? And then she knew it was true. She was like, oh my gosh. And she came out of it and she said to me, you know what? I understand. Let me explain before I tell you what her agreement was, what she decided in her death moment, in the moment of betrayal, pain, suffering, disbelief that this had happened to her, unfairness, injustice. What did she think? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? How do I get out of this? Who did this to me, right? Everything you would think if you were going through that. And no one's listening. Nobody cares. There's no laws going to protect you. And yet you're still feeling all that stuff. If that happened to you now and the government or somebody wished you away and nobody could find you, and it's basically the same thing. So there's different ways to do that kind of stuff, right? So what happened? Well, in this life, the reason she came to me was that she was a pharmacist. She was paid very well, about $150,000 a year. She was very well educated. She was awarded at her job every year as an exceptional employee, yet she had not had a raise in over 5 to 10 years. I don't know why. That's a whole energetic thing we're not going to get into. A couple of years before she met me, she decided she was ready to start a business. She wanted some of her own income because she had married a very controlling man, traditional from her culture, who controlled all the money. The money went directly from her job into a bank account. She did not have a credit card. She did not have an ATM card. She had no way of receiving money or spending money without having to ask him. That is, when you create a life like this, these vows that are afraid of you having money, they're afraid. They were formed in these lives when you made these vows and agreements. They're designed to keep you safe, but they're also designed to keep you poor. They're designed to keep you miserable. They're designed to keep you from ever succeeding, being happy, creating something new. And that's what we have to end now. The magic wound is the wound that we're afraid of our own magic, our own power, our own intuition, and that we've been trained and taught to through time, and it's embedded in our cultures right now. We even have family and partners and friends who criticize, ridicule, don't like the fact that we're doing energy healing, that we're intuitive, that we are, spiritual, that we like to do things that are sacred, that we follow a religion or a spiritual practice that's not Christianity or something traditional. There's all forms of prejudice and persecution happening right now. So we're talking about freeing ourselves, because if we free ourselves from the persecution that we're carrying from agreements we made in the past that limit what we see, what we think, what we know, our ideas. You could be sitting next to your soulmate. You could be sitting next to the partner that would be the business of your dreams, and you'd both be happy, healthy, and wealthy, but you will not see them. You will not think about connecting to them. You will not see that door open in your spirit path if you are still attached to these beliefs and vows that say it's not safe to be psychic, it's not safe to trust people, it's not safe to ask for money, it's not safe to have money, it's not safe. Oh my gosh, the things I have seen in my clients for under the it's not safe to have money. I had a client that had so much money owed to him from clients because he kept making it really hard for them to pay him, but then he didn't have money to live on. And when we got into the energetics, the spiritual, the lineage of it, it was that he felt like money was like a sniper, like it was that he was being hunted, that there was always somebody fixing a gun on him, ready to pick him out if he gets money. And then the deeper thing of that, so why would you want money? But then you're always, everything you're doing is like you're being watched. You're afraid to really expand, to express, to prosper, to grow, to try things, to step outside the box. If you're being watched, you're trying to behave in a way that you don't have repercussions from being watched. Well, if you were a slave or if you were tortured, you were being watched. You had no power. You had no control. You had no say. You had no way out. And you screamed and you yelled and nobody cared. Nobody listened. So you could have made a vow that it doesn't matter what I say. I can scream at the top of my lungs. I'm unworthy. I'm naturally bad. Maybe you were raised here now or in any other life in a very, very strict religious family that just naturally said, you're just bad from birth, especially if you're a woman. Women are bad and women are evil and the serpent is evil and your nature is bad and you have to atone and you have to tell everybody everything you ever did and everything you ever thought. And then we're still going to tell you you're bad. And then you just have to do all this stuff as if you're like paying a debt. You've been condemned. I've come through so many lifetimes of torture, debtor's prison, other forms of prison, betrayal, loss, using my voice to inspire people. I've had so many clients who went back to a life where they used their voice to get the villagers to fight the evil king, and it was a just cause, and it was for the right reasons, and it was from the heart, and they rallied against the king, and then they were all slaughtered by the king's knights, and everyone is dying on the field. And when that person died in that life, they looked across that field and they said, oh my God, look what I did. I used my power, my charisma, my intelligence, my wisdom, my energy, and I inspired all my loved ones, all my family, and they're all dead because of me. And I'm dying because of me. And the king is still there. And I will never use my voice again. I will never try to lead people again. I will never. Do you see this? These are vows. Then that becomes a vow. It goes into your soul. It's very deeply embedded with a lot of powerful energy. And pretty soon, you are operating from that at a low level. You don't even know why. That's just embedded. And we've brought a lot of these with us. So what happened to my lady? Well, in this life, when she came to me, she couldn't get a raise. No business she started worked. And she was starting to realize that there were deeper patterns at work with her and money. I saw immediately that she'd intentionally, at a soul level, chosen, attracted, found her partner, her husband, because she didn't want to be near money. She wanted nothing to do with money. She didn't want to have control over it. She didn't want to have the freedom with it because of that life. Because look what happened to her because of her money. So when she died, what she remembered in this session with me was money equals killing. Why on earth would I ever want any? I never again. So with that level of pain, people betraying you, you can just imagine the emotional power. You know, we hear all the time. You want to manifest something, you have to decide what it is, you have to see it, you have to practice it, you have to think about what you'd say, and then you have to add emotion to it. And the more real emotion and the more powerful emotion, the faster you'll manifest it, the more you will get what you really want, the more your reality will shift to reflect that. It's very true. And that is why that these past powers of when you were magic, when you were healing, are so difficult to get to the bottom of, because they're so painful. They're so full of fear. We've developed so many habits of struggling and sacrificing and trying to fit in not being weird, and avoiding remembering a lot of things, and avoiding going on retreats because they're going to wake you up and activate you to something. Then you have to come back to your life, and then you do have to change, and then you realize it's your priority, and you begin to remember your missions and your promise to the universe and to yourself, and to the point of your mission is to come to solve, to resolve all these lives and stand in the power that they contain, because they're all full of gems. And when you resolve that magic wound, when you free yourself from being something you are willing for, any of those vows, any of those agreements, any of those contracts, whether you made them just with yourself or with someone else in your mystery school, someone else who was threatening you, torturing you, threatening your family in order to use your powers. This is very common. And here's the thing. There's very, very powerful people who know how to use intuitive skills and magic and all kinds of things. Magic is just using the laws of the universe, okay? I understand how to use these two laws. I now understand how to combine this thing and create a Coca-Cola. That's magic. You know, that's just using laws of physics together, metaphysics and beyond. So when people mastered it, and if you were naturally good, this is what the governments do now. They train people to spy on each other through psychics, through intuition. They train people to go look at what's happening there. Are they building up arms? And let's go threaten this person in their sleep and go trigger this thing to happen to that person. There's a lot of this going on right now. It's psychic level manipulation and warfare, and it isn't anything to go get afraid of. It's saying, go get trained. Go remember your intuitive powers, okay? Please, 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 please go remember your intuitive powers. Accept them. You're going to have to walk through this veil. You're going to encounter on your way. They're not going to just all go away at once. So I want you to realize you're going to go up and down. You're going to remember some, and you're going to, oh, yeah, that fear, and you're not going to go do that, and then you're going to go do that, all right? And what's going to happen is that these vows you made because you thought they would keep you safe, and they were going to save you from pain, from loss. If I don't trust anyone, if I don't speak up, if I don't have a lot of money, then I'm not a target. Nothing bad can happen to me. I can't lose anything. Well, that's true. And I've done that in this life. I manifested losing everything, many, many big successes and big losses. And then in my divorce, I literally lost everything, went through a bankruptcy. I had 80 properties, and I ended up homeless practically. I had a place to live, but I didn't own anything. And I was replaying these patterns. I was disowned from my family. I was in debt, and, just like all these things. Well, that's my old lives of debtor's prison. Those are all my old lives of being outcast, of being excommunicated, of being powerful, like a Joan of Arc thing, like being naturally psychic and not being willing to acquiesce to the church or the powers, a religious persecution, burned at the stake. My dad in this life would never say this. I don't know what energy was coming. Well, I do. I know this was another life coming through that I had with him, where he was a minister, a religious minister, a Protestant minister in a small town in America. And me and my sister and my mother in this life were his 3 daughters, named Hope, Love, and Charity from the Bible. And he caused me to be killed for being a witch, because I naturally was talking to nature. I naturally knew which herbs to pick. I was very sweet. I was very loving. I healed anyone and everyone. I didn't do anything for money, but he would pound on the pulpit, and he believed in that hellfire, and he believed in the book that said women are bad and evil, and anybody, you're with the devil, and all whatever they said about how to find evil women. So he didn't try to specifically say, go kill my daughter, but his actions, his purpose, and his passion were directly responsible for me then being taken and killed for my intuitive gifts. And so he was at my house 30 some years ago in New Mexico. He was helping me clear the tumbleweeds so we could bring our goats in to the field, and a spider jumped out and ran up his leg and bit him. And he came back up into the house. And my mother was a nurse a long time ago. So we were looking at, and it was just, it didn't look good. It was definitely a poisonous spider. So my mother was running around trying to figure something out. I don't know what regular medicine is, but I am a healer. I am a natural healer as well. And the first thing I thought to do was not like this was going to solve all the problems, but I was like, aloe vera. So I just walked out my door, popped off a piece of an aloe vera Vera plant, very common now, walked over, rubbed it on it. They stared at me, and then we all stared at his spider bite as it immediately started to go or stopped growing and started to go down. And then I went and got him a homeopathic. Well, I'm a homeopath. So homeopathics can be like arnica. If you take it immediately and you have a bruise or something, it'll immediately, the bruise will go away, or it will prevent the bruise, or it will triple or quadruple the healing of the trauma. And that's just natural. But of course, that's magic and could be evil. And my dad, who's was just a banker in this life and didn't have any spiritual, even relationship, very much religiously either, they stared at it. And then he goes, "What are you, a witch?" And the voice that came out of him, like, "What are you, a witch?" And then we kind of all just looked up. And then my mom laughed and said, "Let me get some lemonade or something." And we're all like, "Okay, I think you're not going to die now." But, and I'm not sure he even remembers saying it. So I want you to understand that through my many years of hypnosis, which combined with shamanic journeying, with mystery school, with energy work, with the visionary work, I'm a seer and an oracle, and I can see energies, that what happens is that these vows create blocks in your mind. They create beliefs in your emotional body. They literally make you unable to see, sense, or believe you can have something that someone could be offering you. "Would you like this plum? Would you like this plum? Would you like this plum?" And you're like, "No, I don't want plums. I don't want plums." Instead of going, "I wonder why this person keeps offering me plums." The energy is always there. The answer is always there, but we can't see it when we have a lot of vows that said, "Don't do it. You can't do it. Something bad will happen to you. I threaten you," through time and through space. So what I was going to tell you is the people who were powerful and started to manipulate these magic energies. Oh, it's 1313. Ooh, delicious. What a magical, magical, magical number. It's the reason that, we had the flood, the fall, they said, "Okay, you're misusing power. We're going to take it away." And at higher levels. And so when we saw Rome, for example, is always used as an example of when beauty and art and spirit reached a point where materialism and greed and all of that took over. And we're seeing that in the world right now. And so what happens at these points in a culture is that something is blamed, someone is blamed, some new laws are created. And so perhaps you had a life where you were really good at this, and the government recruited you or captured you or developed you, took you from your family and developed your intuition in secret government places. And after that life, or maybe earlier in this life, you don't want anyone to know you have skills. You don't ever want someone taking away your freedom. They were using your powers and you had no control over. Well, that happened in the past too. And so whether it was literally using your powers to get them information to do evil things, or you believed in it the way that our militaries can, in our countries, can convince us, "Don't kill people. That's bad." Even the Bible says don't kill people. However, if I tell you that there's this reason that it's okay, you got to go kill those people. And then I have to make you believe that. I have to make you understand that. So one of my clients, deeply psychic woman, grew up with a spiritual family where they would meditate and say and astral travel together every night. Developed, but she had a lot of these vows, these fears, and she didn't really know that. This was about 13 or 14 years ago. So I did a retreat, a live retreat for the Lion's Gate. The chakras through the temples of the Nile. So you probably know that there's many temples up the Nile in Egypt, and that they corresponded to different chakras. And so what the initiates would do is go down and come up the Nile and go through who knows how many years or lifetimes and initiations until they came back up to the Great Pyramids and to the Sphinx and this part of the school. And that was the advanced level of initiation. And so I've been through that in this world through ancient Egyptian mystery school, and gone to Egypt and done the activations as well. I didn't have to swim through crocodiles, thankfully, in this lifetime. However, I advertised that, and that was written all over, that we're going to be doing this. So we get there, and we're in my home in California, and everybody's getting cozy, and I like everybody to have a little nest, and we've got our crystals, and we've had a welcome. Wonderfulness is happening that I like to do at my retreats. And then I start like, okay, we're going to go through the Egyptian Nile temple and this and that. And this lady was like, what? She didn't see that at all. She looked at it. She asked spirit. She's very, very psychic. So she asked her spirit, her heart. They said, yes, absolutely. This is very important. You must be there. But she has a deep fear. She avoids everything around Egypt, around ancient Egypt, around anything to do with it. It makes her sick to her stomach. All this kind of physical reaction that she has. So in this life, like I asked my dad, I grew up in Europe and we traveled a lot. And I asked my dad later after college, how come we never went to Egypt? I'm going to Egypt and I really wanted to go to Egypt. Why did we never go there? And he was like, I really wanted to go to Egypt, but your mother didn't. She was so dead set against it. She did not allow me to ever plan a trip. So he would plan, trips every year when we were growing up. And so we didn't go. Well, why? Because my mother has a past life memory there, okay? And if not more than one, that holds some kind of power that she's afraid of to get in touch with now, that would reawaken either pain and torture or guilt and shame, because she would remember, like this lady did, that she was actually believed, and that one of the times that she was a priest in one of the sacred temples in ancient Egypt, that they were doing certain work. And she believed that they were doing the work of the spirit of the highest of heart. And shortly before she died in that life, and this all came through at this retreat, because all she knew was, what am I doing here? I hate this stuff. And I was like, well, you're here now. And so this activation she came out of it, and she had full reconnection and memory to the vows that she made, the magic wound that she carried. And the reason that she came into this life was to choose this very powerful family, to be trained from birth to meditate, to shamanically travel, to astral travel, to even know about this stuff, much less do it, is very powerful magic. So clearly there are other lives as well, but this particular life was so important that she remember these powers, and that she clear her guilt and her blame and her rejection of all wisdom of that time. So what happens when you're like, oh my gosh? So imagine if you wake up as a military, this is very common as well. You wake up and all of your people are dying on the field. Any version, maybe you're in the military, it's a village, like I told you, it's your family. Whatever has happened, some form of battle or massacre has happened. And you're somehow never want to have that happen again. And whether you caused it or you couldn't prevent it, you start to carry that you're responsible, that you can't move on until you save everyone, or you pay your dues because you didn't protect the people. Maybe somebody died that you were in charge of. Maybe a child died and you felt guilty because it was your fault, that you should have somehow been able to save them because they were your child and that was your job. My daughter died, so I understand that. Right? You can understand all the layers and levels of what I call an agreement you make with yourself. When in that moment you make a vow to a school, to a person, to somebody who's misusing your power or misusing their position and their power. So for her, she remembered very vividly being a priest with Tutankhamun, Imhotep. Was a very famous priest. and discovered that they were misusing the power, and that he had been taught that this was the right thing to do, but it wasn't, that they were actually stealing energy from people instead of giving energy to them. Instead of healing them, their life force was being manipulated, controlled, and other things like that. So it wasn't really important what happened. It was the fact that she realized it. And then when she died, she was in the middle of both shock, betrayal, anger, and you can't trust. Do you see how these reverberate? So we then attract, if we make one vow in one life, we start to manifest many more lives, different eras, different stories, a priest in Egypt, a medieval knight. It doesn't matter, right? You go through any time and place, a healer during the witch hunts, you could go any time and place, and you will find that you have agreements that are designed to keep you from your magic, keep you from your wisdom, keep you and other people from knowing this. And so now I want to invite you that there is no other time except for now. And I'm going to close now, but I'm going to do another call. And I think we're going to do perhaps like a persecution workshop where because the more that I realize, like, we have lives and lives and lives and lives, and whether you remember them or not, they're limiting you. They're deciding for you who you are, where you live, who you interact with, how much money you can have, how happy you can be, whether you're worthy of it. I mean, perhaps you're having a physical ailment and there's a deep cause within that, like, oh, I was really good at doing this, and I did this. I went and fought people, so I don't want that physical strength again. I don't want that agility again. I used to see a lot of people with the mission of reliance, because they don't want to rely on anyone. They don't want anyone to know them. I've had huge deep patterns that I've been healing for a long time now around hiding, around wanting to be hidden, around hiding my powers, hiding from people, hiding my writing by it being really scribbly, not even really understanding the depth to which this goes to, because not safe. I mean, if I have all these lives where I was tortured, blamed, outcast, ridiculed, and on and on and on, then I have many agreements, right? And those live as vows, and those vows become mindsets. They become like, just don't ever do that. Okay. But now those don't serve us anymore. They're limiting us. They're holding us back. They're making us sick. They're recreating this painful world out here. We don't need any more of that. We need to unhook from it, because 1, you need to own your power in your light. 2, you need to free yourself so that you can finish healing, that you can reclaim this, that we can all heal the sacred feminine, that we have to, what do they call that? I don't know, like clean your reputation, clean the reputation of magic, of healing, of energy work, of clairvoyance, of being a priestess, of doing sacred work. This is more important than anything. All right. So we need people who are growing food, and we need people who want to, run the traffic department, and we need people who do these things, but we need every single one to also be walking in their spirit body the way the ancient Maya did. I'm divine and human every minute of every day. And from the minute I was born, I was told that my mission spiritually was something, and everything offered to me in my community was to support me. That's what I want to do. So this is the doorway to free yourself from your cultural conditioning in this life or other lives, to free you from the vows and the painful agreements that your entire psyche, that your entire mind, that your entire body is trying to follow. It is having a very hard time getting past these guardians, getting past these guides. These places, things are embedded, and if they're invisible, they're impossible to get past. If you know you have a belief, now you can perceive its power, and it can stop you without you knowing until later. And then pretty soon you're going to be like, I know that's there. I'm ready for it. And pretty soon you walk right through it until you have your freedom. So we're going to do another call. Please watch, please subscribe, please share this. This is a very important healing. We need a global revolution for this. So if you have somewhere you would like to share this lesson, if you would like to, please let us know. And we would be happy to share the information or the video with you, because we want as many people, and I mean me and my team and my business and my partner and all my spirit guides and the masters of light, and though our incarnations, our future selves, our past selves, our ancestors, our future ancestors, our powers, we're ready. We're ready for the harvest of the ripe tools. This is the moment when it's safe for us to come back in our bodies. It's safe for us to reclaim our power and our independence and our sovereignty and become the queen. So come to the Avalon retreat. All right. We're reclaiming our power with the queens. We're reclaiming the sacred feminine. We're going into water magic. We're purifying. We're healing the heart. And then we're going to sacred sites like Stonehenge. And we're going in the sacred way. And we're activating the sacred goddess temples. And we're being the voice for these ancient. And everything we're doing now is around that. Ask me about December. I'm about to share that. December, I'm working with a Mayan priest and another beautiful woman. And this is a very advanced, beautiful spiritual experience that is serene and powerful and deep and may be resonant for you. It's over half full already. And it's very definitely, you'll know if you resonate with it. Ask me about that. And then make sure that when you walk from today, you let what we've talked about, you've let these energies, because you've been in a sacred temple with me. It's been cleansed and cleared with smoke, copal, with white sage. We have the candles. We have the sacerdotisas, the priestesses. We have Ishel, Jaguar, and Isis. We have, who else was here? Athena is behind me, I think, and Lakshmi's over here, and Kukulkan, and Asclepios, and Thoth. And so everything is alive. Everything has a voice, and you know it. Everything has a language, and you've spoken many of them. Everything has a medicine. It has a power for healing or harming, and you've worked with many of them. Everything from the moon and the sun and the tides, from the wind and the air and the crystals, everything from the night and the day. Everything from a different stage in your life, everything from your partnership with people, in love, in family, in business, all right, in your sacred work, every single thing is designed to take you to a place where you can embody the life your soul intended. How do you get there? Activate your intuition. Free yourself from old patterns, rewire your mindset, understand these beliefs that are keep reinforcing that this is a wound, that there's going to be repercussions, that there's going to be painful consequences, not unless you keep agreeing to it. And when you free these vows, you free them through your lineage. You free them for you and for the life that created them and all the other lives that came from it or added to it, because they're connected through a web of light, of similar trauma, of similar agreement. I'm never doing that again. I'm never being seen again. I don't want to do that. I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want people to disagree with me. I used to be such a people pleaser that it was horrifying and terrifying to me to actually allow myself to be seen fully, right? And to be disapproved of, or to be criticized, or to not be accepted. So it's a very interesting ride when you wake up, when you're ready to be yourself, when you want to follow your path, when you want to be a healer, or when you just want to bring your spirituality into your light and your life and your body and your healing and your job. And you don't even tell anybody about it, because we're spirit and we're body. And we're here to remember that all the things that happened to us in other lives don't have power over us anymore. We were the ones who made the vows and the agreements. We're the ones that can now say, we are done. So what we'll do in the next part of this is we'll go in and have an actual go to a life, go to an agreement, go to a vow, go to the origination of it, the cause. Unravel it, dissolve it, transform it, create a new one, free that life, free this life. There's all kinds of magic you can do in my world. Time is not a barrier, okay? These things don't have power over you unless you continue to agree to them. For the most part, you are agreeing at a subconscious level if you don't know you have a belief, if you don't know you have a mindset, if you don't know that you made an agreement to don't talk about that, all right? Then How do you know? But now you are like butting up against something. You want something. You're like, I can't get past there. What is this barrier? It's always inside of you. It's always a belief you have. It's always something that happened to you in this life or another. Could be that somebody laughed at you or disapproved of you. Somebody disowned you. Somebody kicked you out of the house. Or you're just convinced that naturally you're wrong. You're not good enough. Anything you do that you love must not be right. Someone else needs to just give it the stamp of approval or whatever. So I'm going to leave you with a story about awakening your intuition and the different, there's so many now, they're going like a roulette. And what happens when you decide to move from like, oh, I want the answer. I wish my higher self would talk to me. I think my angels talk to me. It's 1331, which is pretty cool. 1133. Woo, yeah. And we are in that 7-7 portal from yesterday, right? And we're in the Uranus Gemini, which is upheaval, unexpected changes. It's going to be happening for quite a while now, many years. But that idea of the mind and the two sides to something and seeing both sides to something. So this is the perfect energy, as then in 2 days, we go into the full moon, and the full moon is going to shine and illuminate and give you the gifts from all of these painful magic wounds in the past. Okay, so let's tune in and see what wants to come in now. So when you realize that you've made a vow and that you were painfully betrayed or outcast, that you didn't ever want to feel that again, and then you move past it, you start to receive the elixir, receive the medicine, receive the wisdom. And now it becomes not a barrier or a block, because it's not saturated in fear or belief that you aren't strong enough to handle something. So right now, right here, just take a deep breath in and say to yourself, I'm ready. I'm ready and willing. I'm strong enough. I'm resilient enough for that deep fear, that block, that magic wound to come up from wherever I've been hiding it, wherever I have feared it, wherever I have condemned it, and to come into a space of acceptance and love. Release your breath, relax, and feel as if you, and just even the glimmer of it, this tiny echo, maybe a little hologram of this fear. You don't have to drag up the big thing, that this is an agreement. And now you see it. And it looks like, oh, yes, yes. Now I understand. Now I remember. There it is. There it is. There it is. So when you have yourself and you're deeply in love, and you've found your place in the world, and you know that the land and the town you live in, it's just, you're in the perfect place. You feel like you're on purpose. You feel like you're supported by love and light, and whatever you're doing in that world, you are embodying a way of helping people while living happily, about benefiting and prospering more and more people, creating from a place of harmony. What's best for all of us? What could we do next together? So I want you to go with me into a moment in time and space that's opening its doors now. And you can watch. You can watch. So this beautiful woman has deep fear of money, a deep fear of being able to help others, feels powerless. She felt separate. She wanted to mother, to help so many people. But she never had the money. She never felt like she was good enough, that if she reached out to help people in some way, whether it was through a job or just in her own way, there was a rejection. They didn't see her value. They didn't want her value. She felt very afraid of people seeing her. She really wanted to hide. And coming out of hiding became the most powerful, the most difficult aspect. And then she emerged. And she realized, wow, I have all these fears of being seen and of having money, but I also mourn not having money. But more than that, I mourn people. I mourn people. I remember a community, a space, a loving place, a loving life, a homey, like almost watching a movie that I get so captivated by that I go inside of. This place, it calls to me. It calls to me. So this life was very poor, very unknown, very out of the limelight. And even though the ego want was, I just want some more money and to not be so stressed out all the time and to feel better about myself. What's underneath that? Well, we walked into a life when she was a beautiful woman and she was somewhere in Europe in the time of the Nazis. And before the Nazis came, she was a very wealthy woman. She had an enormous amount of land that she inherited from her family. They had orchards and she had a beautiful, beautiful home. And she enjoyed all of it. She didn't feel guilty of it. And she was not officially a part of the government. She didn't lead. She wasn't on a council. She lived her life in a very beautiful way. She was elegant and serene. She was intelligent. She really believed mostly it wasn't a spiritual life like practicing meditation and yoga. It was a fulfilling life, reading, appreciating art, watching nature, drinking, eating good things. And she felt no guilt. So all of her wealth and all of her privilege and all of her lifestyle was truly enjoyed. She took it in, enjoyed it, and then she benefited the town. So despite no need to give or to even go through the government, she became the benefactor of this town. She was beloved. She helped individual people perhaps get a home, or when they had a new child or open a business. And she was beloved and she was known, and she primarily helped through her money, through her belief, and through calling people. She was be what we would call now a networker. And she would say, I can see, that you're so full of beauty and intention. You're a new couple. You want to start a bakery. I can see your passion. I want to support you. Let's come together. Oh, you're having a new baby come into your family. I want to support you in this way, in that way. She even gave families when they had children. She put money, into like a certificate or savings or something. So it was like each person born in her queendom, even though she had no third dimensional role as a queen or even a lord or lady or anything. She felt that her prosperity was best shared, but she didn't ever share it from guilt, like, oh, I shouldn't have it and other people don't have enough and I better give it and I'm going to give it. And people who give in that way, they're giving guilt. They're not giving help. She prospered because she didn't believe that there was anything wrong with having all this. And she knew it was a privilege, so she took advantage and loved it, enjoyed it every day. She let it enrich her life, which she then gave back to the universe. And then she wanted other people to have enriched lives. So they had more time, or they had access to a library, or they had access to healing, or they knew that they were supported and didn't have to worry every moment of the day. And it was very much a village for a village. And then the Nazis came. And the Nazis wanted her money, and they wanted her property, and they wanted her land, and they took it all. So what she did, because she knew they were coming, she buried it. She buried a lot of statues and jewelry and all kinds of things. Okay, she literal treasure, and she left. She ran. She did her best to help, to give to the people of the town, because there was a certain number of them that were with her that said, "Les, it's time to go. Time to go." So this is most likely triggering memories or feelings within you of things you've experienced. You resonate with understanding the underlying energies and fears in this. So with very little money, because if you ran away, you then had to hide and you had to cross borders until you found a safe place to live. And then you couldn't show up with a lot of money and start living a wealthy life. And you had no way to transport that money. And it was not like you could access your bank account from somewhere else. So she left with just enough money for her. And she gave as much money as she could and as much to people. That wasn't a lot for each of them, but also the same, just enough to get somewhere, to free yourself, to run. So when she died, she never was able to go back. She was never able to reclaim her home, her family's home. She was never able to reclaim her place. She was never able to reconnect to her community. She never saw or heard from any of those people again. She never got to dig up her gold and her treasure. And most upsetting to her, when we went into that life and she realized the vows that she had made and the reasons she was afraid of having money now, and feeling like she needed to hide, and feeling like she needed to stay separate, and feeling like people could betray you, and feeling like she had to make sure that nobody knew the truth about her. So you see, she wasn't doing like magic healing, but she was so embedded with those agreements that it's not safe, that she didn't have a part of her who said, we should review this now. Maybe this isn't true anymore. Maybe we have love, we have light, we have strength, we have resources now that I don't have to hide, that I'm able to be wealthy. I'm able to be a beneficial queen. I'm able to receive money and power. I know how to do it. I can love people. I can create a community. It's safe. Not everybody betrays you. I did good with my money, even though they took it. There's this evil power out there. I don't want them to ever get it. So I'm never going to show my money again. The agreements and vows went layers and deep, filled with emotion and filled with energy that you can then literally see in your life now, almost sometimes word for word. Money equals killing. I don't want any. That lady couldn't get a raise. It had nothing to do with her qualifications. It had nothing to do with anything. But look at how powerful spirit is. Look how powerful your inner self is. Look how powerful your fear is. It will literally keep you from success, keep you from money, keep you from love, keep you from happiness. If there is a vow that you have agreed to that said, it's not safe. It's not safe to be in love. I've seen lifetimes where you were in love and then you were betrayed by that love, or that love was killed and you don't know what happened to them. So you were left with the doubt that, did they just abandon you? Was it never true, or were they killed? Either way, it's not good. Lifetimes of this live within you. All throughout your life. It didn't even have to just be the death moment. There's these vows and agreements. Oh, I was ridiculed at school for speaking up and thinking I knew the answer, so I'm never speaking up again. And then you became the person who melted into the background and melted into the back and sat in the background instead of the front, right? Or you were ridiculed for being the enthusiastic one. So every level, it was even a movie that was made, I think it was called Practical Magic, and it was based on a book of current times, of women who practice, Wicca and pagan and a lot of the magic arts, good magic arts, and then their daughters, and then their daughter who had a bad experience and refused to pass that on to their daughters and raise them without any of that knowledge, and how then it looped back into their lives, whether the mother wanted to keep it out or not. But there's a scene where they're in town. It's a small village. It is not in ancient times or medieval times. And these girls are being outcast, being chastised, being publicly shamed, being ridiculed by the other kids in town, in the town square. Does this reverberate from all the ancient, medieval and all the other times when this was done in other forms? Saying, witch, witch, you're a witch, 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 you're a witch, 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 you're a witch, and whipping up that cruelty, that ability to have that group mindset of a predator. And the mother shows up, and the same thing happened to her in the same town, the same chant. And she comes to rescue her kids and break it up and like, stop it, you guys. And they're just like, it's not like they're being burned at the stake, but isn't that the same thing to us now? Have you had that in your life now? Have you had any level of holding back your voice, your truth, and your power because of the retribution? That means some consequence will come back to you. Well, yes, some people won't like who you are. Some people will, but it's time for you to be who you are. Otherwise, you're going to keep sacrificing yourself. You're going to keep struggling. You're going to keep wanting something and never getting it, because you're separated from the biggest powers you have. You're separated, and you are living with these vows that have created very strong patterns, very strong beliefs. And those are not things you can take on by yourself. Those are the hero's journey. Those are the demons within you. Those are the doubt girl voices. Those are the poverty girl voices. Those are the fear mongers. And then they show up outside of you of people telling you you can't and whatever. They're all one. They're all stem from this. Don't try to change the outside world. Don't go to people to change them. Don't even try to go into your mind and tell yourself to change. Interrupt your pattern, breathe yourself into the moment, and choose peace. Choose acceptance. Acceptance will take you to forgiveness, which lets go, harmony, and you will transcend at least out of the real big intensity. Then reformulate your vow. As soon as you know what it is, write it down. Make a new one. What's your vow now? What are you replacing it with? What are you agreeing to? And then actually, with your mouth, with your words, with your heart, with your intention, declare that this vow, this bond, this agreement, this contract, in any level, in any time, in any life, is now null, void, complete, canceled, dissolved, deemed powerless. And I don't care if you see it as a big stone that dissolves, a metal cage around you that is opened and you're given the key and it opens. If it's a ball and chain, a shackle on your neck or your foot that you see go away, a book that you put down, a contract that you sign, something you throw in a fire, I don't care how, but give it a concrete action that you see that and you feel it. Perhaps you write it down and go burn it or flush it down the toilet. Give it some concrete intention. I now free myself at every level, known and unknown, hidden, obvious, past, present, future, that no longer serves me, that holds me back, that enforces me, limiting my intuition, limiting my clarity, limiting my wisdom to magic, to ancient things, and to my powers. I refuse. That just means when it comes to the door, you just say, no, thank you. And now, from this moment forward, I walk in clarity, in peace, and I allow the pearls of wisdom in my power. I hold them in my hands. I'm rising from the ashes. I am the phoenix. I am whole and I am healed. So every one of my clients, every story that I tell you, what do? You have to go and identify and accept what was that agreement. What are a few words for it, or what is a sentence for it, or what is a concept that you can really sense and feel? That's what was. You accept it. You accept that it had power, that you gave it power, that it exists. You're just accepting it. You're not choosing it. But now that you've accepted it, you have the power to change it. It's like, we need to, change a fuse, but I don't know where the fuse box is. And you're walking around in the dark with the fuse. You've got the fuse. You just don't know where the fuse box is. Okay. So now, then you say, okay. And you do what we just did. You erase it, you burn it, you agree to it, you release it with always with gratitude. And then you say, now I'm ready to receive the gems, the wisdom, the gold. I'm ready to receive the elixir of power and clarity. Now I'm receiving my voice back. Now I'm receiving everything back. And the wisdom that I had is ready to come to me, and I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to become the clear and open channel. I'm ready to become the container that not only can sense and feel and receive this, but make sense of it, decode it, and use it for the highest good. Through my heart, I hear it. Through my heart, I send it. Through my heart, I live it. And so it is. And that is it for now. It is done. May this circle be open, yet unbroken. And this beautiful path of the divine sacred feminine walk with us. Thank you to the guides. Thank you to all the lives that we've had. And thank you to this opportunity to come together, to share and use the powers of this moment to break free. I can't wait to meet you again. I want to share one more thing with you. You both respect your reaction, your intuitive reaction, and you don't reject it. You go into it. Many, many years ago, I used to read 5 books at a time. When I first started doing this, there were no books in bookstores. You had to go to ancient libraries, or I lived in LA, so I went to the Bodhi tree. It was not very common to find meditation groups and all these kinds of things. And learning was very old world. It didn't have new language. And I had no clue about anything. So this started coming to me, and that, and meditating, and leaving your body, and astral and animal communication. And as everything came, I just ate it up. Oh, that's interesting. And learned about Bach flowers and start communicating with flowers. And then this is alive and that. And so what happened is that I was very interested in like ancient Celtic priestess, wisdom, goddess, under the moon, and stone circles, and just kind of that woo. And I was raised with very strong past life memories of being in Greece, being an oracle in Greece, within the sanctuary of Athena, in many different towns, but Delphi. And I didn't know there were past lives at the time. And I had ones with Egypt and Lakota Sioux, and I grew up around Chicago. So whatever Indian version that they were probably feeding us, some sort of generic version, but it was, wow, just really powerful in my dreams. And I would dress up and I would act this out. And so there was this natural thing, but nobody ever said, oh, that's a past life or whatever's coming through. So I know now that I came to be a shaman, that I came with this certain medicine, that I came to be in the sacred feminine energy, to remember it, to trigger it, and then to guide you through that transformation. So as that is part of my path, clearly I had to be, spirit had to start to be, say, hey, come over to pagan, to Wiccan, to goddess, to Celtic things. You have to come back to that. So once there were stores like Barnes and Noble or something, Borders, I think it used to be called, there was a section, and I would go and I would get really drawn into it, and it would say Wiccan, and it would talk about magic, and it would have stars and pentacles, and it was just, it made me come alive. I could feel it. And then I had fear in the pit of my stomach. And then my sacral just became so full of really icky feelings. Let's just say, just like, to the point of like, this isn't even just bad, it's evil, and it's going to cause me horrific repercussions. Well, that was because of the lives as a witch or healer or accused of that type of thing, whatever you want to call it, where I was tortured, I was sexually abused or tortured, and a lot of other really horrible stuff. So every time, and this took years, okay? This took years of me being drawn and then putting it down and leaving, and then trying to do something else. And then I would learn something else, So then I went into the Tao, and I learned the Tao, and I became very, very Zen. And then I, became a hypnotherapist, and then I started doing this energy medicine, and I started working with the shamans, and then I was going to Egypt and, meditating 4 hours with my groups in the Great Pyramid, and accessing higher realms, and teaching light body and sacred geometry. So there's a million different ways to remember. You don't have to know this particular way. It can be couched in any culture in any time. The wisdom runs through them all, And so, but it was interesting because it kept calling me back. So I wanted to share that so that you remember that if you have something that keeps calling you back, then you have something that's there for you. Okay. So for me, luckily, I finally listened. I finally joined the Reformed Congregation of the Goddess. I spent 16 very happy years doing ritual committee, raised my children in this very loving, earth-based, just incredible, learned about drum circles and sound healing and all the stuff that people talk about now, but it really wasn't a conversation back then. So there's that result. And of course, it's a big part of the magic and the mysteries and the ceremonies that I do and I teach. But there's also that through that doorway, there's the healing of the fear. And then that frees you in the past. And then that life is free to move forward as well. So I've just noticed how long we've gone. We're going to divide this into 2, and then we're going to create part 3. So we'll let you know all about that. Hi, Lisa. That vow of not using your voice. Yeah, you've got that right. Tons of confirmation burps. I love how spirit talks to you through your body. I love that too. That's what's really fun in the Intuition Awakening class. You know, a lot of people have these physical feelings that become very, very trustworthy. You're like, oh, I know that's telling me that this is true. So funky. I feel like I'm replaying lives too. Hi, Mrs. Jackie Robinson. Enjoy your blessings. Namaste. Hi, Grace. Yes, yes, yes. So one of the things that's happening for me is that I'm reactivating the priestesses. The priestesses in all cultures, but especially into 5 sacred points of the school. So the 5 pointed star is coming for the Avalon, for the Celtic, of course, for the Greek, for the Egyptian, for the Mayan, and for the star schools, the star priestesses, because they have different cultures as well. But for us now, the star beings have to come in and we become the whole being, right? Your hands, your head, and your 2 feet are the 5-pointed star. And that is the pentacle, and that is the doorway into the sacred feminine. And there's a lot of deep mystery. So not only is the mystery rising, like there's more information available and more people have psychic skills, but these schools are asking to be opened. So we're opening the Sacred Feminine University, literally going to be taking pilgrimages to that site here in the Maya, and reawakening each level of these. The priestesses are the voice and the hands of the goddess. When you understand that, and priestess is a word that I didn't use for a long time because it's filled with that, ooh, evil, evil, you're a priestess, that's evil. The fact that there even were priestesses has been erased from our history, our culture, our churches. You never had a Mayan temple. There was always a woman, a priestess, a very mystical, high-level woman, higher than the king, queen, and ruling elite. Always. There was no way you could have that. If you didn't have that, you knew you were out of balance. Your community was out of balance. Your magic was out of balance. The wisdom was out of balance with the universe. You want to be in balance, sacred, masculine, feminine. There were priestesses that were then relegated to being nuns. But within that, the priestess of Isis, the priestesshood of Isis, is what traveled all over the globe. It is the priestesshood of Mary's or Anna's or the Magdalenes. They're showing me too many at once, guys. Yeah, I'm seeing like streams coming down from the North Pole. Okay, there's this. What is a priestess? It is. I didn't even plan this. This is coming now. A priestess is a wise woman, a healer, somebody who is willing to commit to the vision, right? To make that vow to a mystery school that says, I am dedicating my life to remember who I am, to be the embodiment, to be the container, to reconnect to the divine power and wisdom, so that this isn't like, oh, now I'm the queen of the universe and I'm going to go over here and, be Taylor Swift or something. That's not what I'm talking about. Most of us are never going to be famous and all this stuff, and you're going to have the most fulfilling life you've ever had. So the priestess of Isis, priestesshood of Isis, and the mystery school of the left eye of Horus and the right eye of Horus create the one eye. And this is what we're having. This is the moment of the two coming together. And as we do these, whether you come with me, you feel called somewhere else, I want you to remember that if you're called to something, it's going to have many different lines. It could be that you want to remember it, that you had a bad time with it, you need to resolve, that you're freeing other people, but there's always an underlying current for you. And I forgot what I was saying, so we'll go ahead and allow this to close. So, oh no, wait, it had something to do. Did I tell the whole story about that? Yes. So I wanted you to understand that the doorway, when you feel repulsed by something or attracted to something, and different levels of that, it's both the same thing. Okay, it's speaking to you. Why? Go into the cave. See where your powers are that you've hidden. Some things I have seen in journeys and shamanic journeys and the sessions and things that I do is that people will bury these parts of themselves very creatively. One lady was so committed to keep herself from her voice and her power that where we found it energetically within her was it was in a crate. The crate was wrapped with many giant chains, and then it was suspended with another giant chain down a deep well. So it wasn't even touching earth. It was like suspended, right? So psychically, energetically, emotionally, if you have taken something and isolated it, tried to lock it up, tried to hide its power, tried to refuse access, right, to yourself or anyone else to something, holy moly, that's got some power. Okay, guys, I love you so much. I want to say, oh, hi, Josie. Afternoon. Oh, I love you and all you share, always deliver and never disappointed. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Queen. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Oh, Jackie. Hi, Brittany. So come play with us. Come play. We have a few spots left in England. And we're going to be doing some serious magic here in the Maya land in March. And we're going to be having, oh, Ina, I did say hi to you. Good. We're going to be having more pilgrimages. So thank you for awakening your inner knowing. Oh yeah, there was something about the priestesses. So think about this. The divine sacred feminine. Is it something that feels very abstract? Is it like angels? Is it like Mother Mary? Is it something that feels like it's too holy, it's above you, you're not worthy? Or have you come to the point where you sit with that idea of the goddesses being a divine energy of a particular archetype, right? Of a particular power, of a particular phase, of a particular Pele, the goddess of volcanoes. And then what does that actually mean? She's the goddess of fire, but she's the goddess of earth, but she's the goddess of things that are rumbling in the middle of you, goddess of things that need to melt and disappear, goddess of things that are ready to create a new reality. Literally, that's earth, right? So many levels of symbolism that are there for you. As a priestess, you learn the mystic arts, you learn your intuitive arts, you clear and cleanse all of your personal dramas and traumas because you can't allow those to be triggered when you're doing really deep magic. If you go into some place that has deep energies, you have to have been trained. So that's what initiations were for. That's what temples were for. That's what the Sacred Feminine University and the Mayan Cosmic Universities and all, I think these were all cosmic universities, whatever culture or country you saw. And you're trained. Why? Is it, I learned how to use herbs? Well, that might be the vehicle that you enjoyed, but you were trained to communicate with the divine feminine, to embody the sacred mother, Gaia, Delphine, right? Daphnis, the oracle, the seer, the many facets or facets of the divine feminine. That's all of the intuitive pathways. That's all of the clair skills. That's 360 senses. That's reawakening the intuitive body to be able to communicate with that level of divinity. We're not trying to become a god or goddess because we are divine. We came here to be the human receptacle for the divine that then can communicate through us. If you've ever worked with Metatron is the voice of Melchizedek or of the higher level energies, archetypes, masters, whatever you like to call them, because their frequency is so high it would blow us up. So Metatron becomes like Mercury, becomes like the messenger that's taking it, dividing it, deciphering it, if there's a piercing sound that your dog can hear, but you can't hear it, And you're just all like, what? And then somebody changes that frequency to a frequency you can hear, right? You start like, oh, I hear it now, you know? So you become a finely attuned, consciously attuned, initiated, purified, and cleansed container, receptor, receiver, pineal gland, other glands, chakras, the blood chemistry, the receptacles within your nervous system and your chemistry and your glands into your aura, your mind, and so on. So mastery becomes know thyself, know how the different worlds intersect. But if you don't like the science, that's not your forte. If you like the mysteries, that's your forte. If you like the animal nahals, that's your forte. Go with what it is that attracts you right now. It'll lead you to the next door, which will unravel to the next magic. And that will start a cascade of memory. And then you become a clear and open channel to the goddess, to the divine feminine, to the mystery, to the energy, to the medicine in any moment. Yay! So stay tuned because we're going to unravel all kinds of ways to play together. In the meantime, please come and join the Intuition Awakening Summer Camp. I really can't emphasize enough, no matter what else you are doing, getting that is vital. And I think the sale ended yesterday, but I'm not sure we took it down. So if you run on over there today, you can get the sale. There's payment plans. You can ask me questions, but we only have a certain number of seats. Okay. And we're about, I think we're half full. And I want to get, if you feel called, because this is definitely a calling. I need a group that's committed. I need a group that's like, okay, I might suck, or I have my doubts, or I have my fears. Bring it all. You don't have to be perfect, and there's no prerequisites. You don't have to even know what I'm talking about. If you feel called, you come. Okay. All right. So I want to give great thanks to everyone and to my sacred turtle mother, who I will have to share with you a little bit more. But I got to be with a mother as she came out, laid her eggs, and left. And it was a very magical moment. So we're going to call on the Tortugas and the beautiful Nahual of the Iwak, and that beautiful energy being like a turtle island and our mother turtle and the sacred calendar and everything beautiful to surround us today. Actually, I do want to leave us with one more thing. Just since we've gone this long, we might as well. So on to this recording would be the energies of today. And in the Mayan sacred calendar, the Tzolk'in, or the Cholki, is it's the day of Ik. And Ik, it's 10 Ik if you want. I'm just going to share the energy of it. But this is about bonds in the family, nature, nurturing relationships, ancestral and in the family, coming to a place of a balance within yourself and with the past. So stability, cooperation, cleanse, purify misunderstandings, resentments, recent quarrels, refreshing relations with new perspectives. Remember that you don't have a lot of time here. Love it. Appreciate every moment. Don't waste any moment. Don't be bored. Don't be lost. Don't think something's wrong. That moment contains the riches. That moment contains everything you need. And I think that the message from today is that everything we've been talking about is our past life vows and our fears of the future are keeping us from connecting to those future potential moments where we can co-create with the future and manifest it now. Manifest your health now. Manifest your happiness now. That's what I help people in the Wishes Fulfilled class. And this is moving from a different direction. Let's get these things that are in our way, keeping us in fear and creating anxiety that then goes into other areas of your life that you don't have to have that. Okay. Namaste, everyone. May this circle be open and we all walk with this peace and beauty. See love, be love, and receive love in an infinite flow. So it is. Namaste. Bye-bye. I just love you guys so much. Thank you, light bulb moment.